Did you know that there's a firearm so fast it can fire before you can even blink? That's not an exaggeration or a sci-fi fantasy. It's real life. Today, we're diving into the world of one of the fastest firing firearms ever created. This might just make you rethink what you believe is humanly possible. So let's start with a comparison. On average, it takes the human eye about 300 to 400 milliseconds to blink. That's less than half a second. Pretty quick, right? Well, what if I told you this firearm can fire over 1 million rounds per minute? Yes, you heard that right. 1 million rounds per minute. The weapon in question is known as Metal Storm, a firearm system designed by an Australian engineer named Mike O'Dwyer. It's not just fast, it's revolutionary. The speed of this weapon doesn't come from using conventional firing mechanisms like springs, hammers, or gas-assisted reloading. Instead, Metal Storm utilizes an ingenious electronically actuated firing system. This technology eradicates one of the major bottlenecks in firearm firing rates: the mechanical parts that require movement. What makes Metal Storm's speed possible is its design. Imagine a barrel loaded with bullets stacked one after the other, with charges pre-loaded between each round. And here's the secret sauce. These are ignited electronically and instantaneously. By syncing the firing mechanisms with electronics, it's not limited by the traditional mechanics. That's why it achieves a firing speed that's practically unimaginable. Now, to put its capabilities into perspective, traditional firearms, the kind you see in action-packed movies or video games, usually peak at hundreds, perhaps a few thousand rounds per minute. Take the iconic M134 minigun, for example. It's famous for its rapid fire rate, maxing out at around 6,000 rounds per minute. That's impressive. But 6,000 rounds pales in comparison to Metal Storm's capability of 1 million rounds per minute. This weapon could theoretically empty an entire barrel's worth of ammunition in just 0.001 seconds. It's almost absurd to imagine that by the time your brain even registers that the device has fired its first shot, an entire magazine could already be finished. Talk about blinking and missing it. But there's another crucial aspect to mention here. Metal Storm is one of the safest firearms to operate remotely. Because its components rely almost entirely on electronic controls, it drastically reduces the risk of human error. A server or remote trigger system activates the firing process, which means it doesn't even need to have someone pull a physical trigger to function. Imagine circumstances where a weapon like this is life-saving. For example, in high-stakes military combat or anti-drone operations, being able to deploy an instant response could neutralize a threat where timing down to milliseconds matters. Think about countering a swarm of drones headed towards sensitive military areas. Metal Storm could theoretically take those out in seconds. Let's step back for a moment and look at the technology behind all of this. Metal Storm was created with versatility in mind, and it has multiple potential applications. It's not just about military warfare. This same kind of technology could revolutionize fire safety. Imagine firefighting equipment capable of firing suppressant materials in rapid bursts to cover forest areas all at once. Or, even in space exploration, a system like this could deploy flares or signal bursts with the utmost precision. However, there are challenges too. As cool as the idea of a 1 million round per minute weapon may sound, it's not exactly practical to load that amount of ammunition. And let's not even start on how fast you'd burn through ammo supplies. But it's the principle that counts. Metal Storm gave us a glimpse of what's possible when electronics and firearms meet in the most brilliant of ways. Why hasn't this weapon become more mainstream? Primarily, it's because even the most advanced militaries in the world still face logistical limitations when it comes to ammunition size, weight, and transport. Also, regulating such a weapon's immense capability raises enormous concerns, particularly when you think of the potential harm it could cause in the wrong hands. So, is this firearm truly practical as is? Maybe not right now, but that's not the point. The point is that Metal Storm represents a leap in what firearms technology is capable of. It's a glimpse of a future where technology isn't the limiting factor in split-second decisions. And hey, who knows? Down the line, what we see as extraordinary today might just become standard in the future of defense, security, and even civilian applications like safety. If you're still not convinced that this is one of the most mind-bending feats of engineering in the world of firearms, just imagine what 1,000,000 rounds per minute looks or sounds like. It doesn't just redefine speed, it redefines the entire concept of how firearms function. From traditional mechanisms to fully electronically actuated systems, Metal Storm makes even the fastest machine guns of today look like old-school crossbows by comparison. So next time you think about how far technology has come, remember this revolutionary weapon. It doesn't just maximize speed, it obliterates any previous records. And with technology like this around, you'll never look at speed the same way again. 1,000,000 rounds per minute. Blink and you'll miss it.